to Coffee with Joy. So excited to have you all here. I am so excited to have my guest, Magnolia, as we talk about balloon artwork and so much more, events. Have you ever had an event planner to not go right or something that just blow your mind? Well, I have Magnolia here, Meg Brides Events, who's here to show us tell us all about how did she get into this adventure, what made her start this, and what is the next thing after this? Because we know so many things are taking place. Balloon work is just not balloon work. So after these messages, we're going to talk to my guest, Magnolia. Want to look cute in the gym? Well, these cute workout sets are the bomb. Make sure that you hit the PayPal QR code and so that you can find out more about these cute sets and so much more. Let's get to working out. Yes! Back to Coffee with Joy. I have my guest Magnolia on. Hey, Magnolia, how are you?
Hi, Joy. I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. So we're going to jump right in. If you could tell people a little bit about yourself, then we're going to jump right into all thing balloon work, events, and so forth.
Yes. Joy, thank you for having me on here with Coffee with Joy. It's a great thing you're doing, giving us a platform, small business owners. My name is Andin Magnolia. I originally came from Cameroon. Cameroon is in West Africa. I've been in the United States for a while now. I do event planning, I do balloons, and all things event.
Hmm. So what made you get into this? Because let me just tell you, from the naked eye, I'm looking like, oh yeah, I could do that. But in reality, you can't do it, right? Because it looks so detailed, so well put. And I mean, it's magnificent. So what made you get into events and just elevate from there?
Yeah, so events, when I used to, go out with friends, we used to plan like trips. I was always that go-to person that they would come to help, coordinate, to help with anything decor. So I used to work as an accountant in corporate America. And, over time I started doing, little things for friends, baby showers, events, and they would give me like $100, $200 just to get the stuff that was needed to do those events. And I realized I started loving it more and more. And
Hmm.
then my work would get into the way. So I was doing event planning, I was doing balloons. I remember doing my first balloon, like officially paid balloon job. I mean, this was not paid. So the very first one, my girlfriend was having a baby, and it was a surprise. And the
Okay.
husband, just hand everything to me. I started with making like paper flowers, like from cardboard papers. Like I did not sleep. I did everything within 2 nights, making those paper flowers and trying to get like a backdrop for her. And then, some of the other friends that did balloons. And I realized that, okay, this is something I'll actually be interested in doing in the long time. I'm very creative with my hands in general. So when I started, over time I realized, this is something that I would want it to, go further than this. And it started like affecting my work, I will not lie, because there were times when I would need to be at the clients, or I'll need to go check out the venue, and then I don't get off work till like 5. So
Hmm.
after a while, in like September of 2021, if I'm not mistaken, I decided to, I'm like, let me try this. Let me just go for this. Let me keep, let me leave my job. If it doesn't work out, of course, I have a degree. I can always go back to doing what I was doing before. So I've been trying ever since then.
Wow, that's remarkable because that's really taking a leap of faith. And I feel
It
as though God
is.
talked to you and he keeps poking you because things start to get out of whack, right? Things
Yes.
just doesn't
Yes.
align. And you're like,
Yes.
I love this, but I like this, but I love this and I like this.
Right.
Oh my goodness. So now that you're really taking a leap of faith and you've been doing this, so how long have you been in business and what has been your best event to your one of your worst events? And when I say
Hmm.
worst, not the worst, it was just like, oh my gosh, this, and you don't have to name any names. It's like,
Right.
oh, this is so hectic, because some people can be out of pocket,
Right.
irate, and not very clear, when it
Yes.
comes to decor and everything. So, like, how
Yes.
long have you been doing this, and what has been like your best as your worst as of right now?
Right. So officially just events. I've been doing it for like over 3 years.
Mhm.
Um I do have a lot of good events. So I will not say I have a best case. My clients in general are like the best people ever.
That's good.
And one thing with my balloon work is, a lot of people will go to Instagram, Pinterest, and then have pictures and send it to balloon artists or other event professionals and like, I want this thing. For my work, most of the times my client let me do what I want.
Yes.
Usually they would say, please give me a theme,
Mhm.
please give me a color, so give me a color combination. So they will let me do what it's like. They trust me so much to let me do what I want. And I'm that one person that I'm always looking to grow. I'm always looking to do new things. Even if you look at my Instagram page, for the most part, you would hardly see me do something more than, 1 or 2 times. So
Mhm.
I'm that creative person. So when clients come to me, they already know what to expect. And for the most part, they will say, do what you want to do. So I would say I've pretty much had lots of, good clients, a lot of great clients. For my worst events, I don't know. Sometimes there are some clients that could be like a pain.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie. So one thing with most of my clients is originally some start, when people get closer to events, and just because of the planning background I have, I
Mhm.
know it gets hectic. People start, they worry more and stuff. So I try to calm them down. But at the end of the day, after the event, I realize, okay, they were not just trying to make my job very difficult. They were just,
Okay.
anxious. Most of them are doing events for the very first time, and eventually when they see the results, they'll be happy. But I
Mm.
can tell you, I've done events where maybe the communication was not right. And at the end of the day, the client was like, maybe I expected something different. And I just,
Mm.
try to deal with it. You have those, bad days, 1 or 2 events
Yeah.
that will not go as expected.
Yeah, because I know that's not like an easy job where you could just like, okay, I'll cook you something else.
Yes,
That's
it's done. Hours before planning that event, and then executing, and then someone comes in there and maybe they had like different expectations, and
mhm.
you're doing something else. So we have had some bad days, and recently I just had one. So it's like,
Oh wow.
okay, yeah, it
Oh
gets
wow.
hard. But there are times when I'll be like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. And then
Yeah.
the next minute, a client calls me and like, oh, I love your work. And I'm like, I'm right back in. That was just like 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Because you're human, right?
I
And
am.
it has the ups and downs and everything. As much as yeah, we could sit here and talk about all the great things, but part
Yes.
of entrepreneur is really fighting through those hard times and even fighting yourself because sometimes you're just like, okay, I just don't want to deal with it today.
Oh
But
my God. You have no idea how many times I quit. Like,
yeah,
I would be leaving a job and I'm so sure this is it. I'm like, I am done. I'll start dropping those applications. I'll start
yeah,
looking for work. And the next minute somebody is gushing about my work the person saw somewhere, or I'm like, oh my, and I'm there planning and I forgot that 2 minutes ago I was like, this is it. So
yeah.
that is the
Wow.
roller coaster when it comes to being an entrepreneur.
I can't imagine because the details. Now, what are just like five things, your major thing that you love doing when dealing with clients? We know the balloons. Like, what else is there like that goes with, McBride's events? Like, if somebody were to listen and say, oh, wow, I would love to have her as an event coordinator or event planner. Like, what is your expertise that you really love to showcase for your clients?
So one thing with my event is I don't think of it as a client vendor relationship.
Okay.
I would usually think of it as my event, and that is why I put in so much into what I do. I would think about it as, this is my wedding, this is my birthday, this is my
Mhm.
graduation, this is my baby shower. So how would I want it to be? Doing it in such a way that I know I will not want myself to worry about it. So I would usually put in 200% into
Yeah.
those events. So that client vendor relationship, most of my clients, even after our event, we end up being like friends or something. Like, we've been talking so much over the course of planning that event that we grow that relationship. So I'll say one of those things is, that being able to relate to those clients, it's
That's good.
just more than the work. And number two, I'm so detailed. So when it comes to like doing my, my balloons or any events I'm doing, I love the details. Number three, I love to customize. I don't want you to walk into an event and feel like, oh, I just attended the party last week and, it's the same thing. I want it to be, specific to you. I want it to be customized down to you, be it with the colors, the names, or anything special that you like. I try to customize it as much as possible. I want you to remember this event as yours. I want people to come in and feel like, oh, I went to Joy's event this past weekend, and not just, okay, I was at a baby shower and it's blue, it's red, it's the tan colors that most people are doing this day. So that most of those things are what makes me stand out, I
Yeah.
would say, and my clients love that. And then that communication, I have like an open communication policy
Mhm.
with most of my clients. I'll tell you, some of them sometimes abuse that. Well, I know what it means to be worried, and
Mhm.
sometimes they just have like a question that requires like a yes or no answer. I
Yeah.
don't like putting like, schedules to say, oh, I can only talk to you like every week or every month or every 2 weeks. So there's always that open communication policy with most of my clients. So I think, well, that's four. But yeah, for the most part, those are some of the things that I think makes me stand out from my competition.
And see, and I like the fact where you said customize, right? Because it's like detailing for this individual, making it more memorable
Yeah.
and really making it stick out to them that they know this is mine. No one has it, and it's ownership for me. And you really
Yes.
take your time with your detail. Like if somebody were to reach out and talk to you, like how does the planning go? Like, what is the length? Like, what is the your length of time to making sure that everything is superb when dealing with the client? Like how long do you have to have a when talking to your client or the consultation, making sure that everything runs well? Like what is your length of time when talking to them?
When initial conversations are usually long, when I tell people sometimes I'm on the phone with them for up to 3 hours, the thing I'm joking. But yeah, sometimes I'm on the phone like initially when they contact me, just talking, bouncing off ideas.
Mhm.
Some people are very good at knowing what they want when they reach out to you, and some people are not. And even sometimes some of those people know what they want because always like I always have things I want to do on my list. Like right now, I already have about 5 ideas for baby showers I want to do, 5 ideas for like maybe kids' birthday parties, 5 ideas for birthdays. And when people come, sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe this has been overdone. So I'll try to sell them some of those ideas. And for the
Mm.
most part, some of them would like it and they will probably change from what they initially wanted and go to what I want. So that initial conversation usually would take like 2 hours depending on if we're going deep talking about everything. Sometimes it's not a lot, but then most of the times we want our clients to reach out early enough because like I said, a lot of details, a lot of customization. That way we can be able to tailor down that event to you. So maybe like 6 weeks, 4 weeks.
Mm. Okay.
We do have clients that come in pretty late, still we try to catch up. Of course, it's like rushing, you have to order everything expedited shipping, but we try to always make that event yours.
Wow, wow. Because I know it really, and I'm not an event planner.
Yeah.
I can do my own event, but I'm not an event planner, right? But I
Yes.
know, as you stated, detail. I like to, like I tell, because I'm an educator, right? So I tell
Right.
parents, you're looking at the 1 and 2. I'm looking at 1.1, 1.2,
1 point.
1.3. I'm looking at those very details because
Right.
it's like sitting at the table. I'm sitting here, but you're sitting there. So your perspective is different, right? So
Right.
what you're seeing and what I'm seeing will maybe somewhat the same, but it's a little different. I know
Right.
there's a window, there's a wall, but
Oh.
you don't. But I have to really break it down and not assume. So I try to cut the assumption out. And I know event plan is not easy because once it is, that's it. There's
Yes.
no going back. So really being very detailed. And I think some people think they're detailed when they really aren't
They are
detailed.
not.
Because when you start saying, okay, what color? They like red. So you're like, okay, do you want cherry red, cranberry red?
Thank you.
you know, It's
I
like
get
there's
that
a
all the
palette.
time. And some of them
Yeah,
don't even know those colors. And now I have to like take out color palettes, send it to them and be like, this is this red, that is that red. This is so which one do you want? Because
yeah,
in their head, they have seen maybe something that they want, but they don't know what color it is, and they just come out red. I'm like, well, they are like different shades of red.
yes,
So I want to do something that you will be happy with. So details is very important, like you say. So you don't want people to think that, okay, well, you just walk in here and it's like, no. So I love my details, very
yeah.
important.
I'm with you. I'm the detail person completely because before I started, I know, I seen color palettes, but I really didn't pay attention to it. But a couple of years ago, I was like, oh wow. And now I'm on Pinterest. I'm constantly looking at color palettes because I love how they combine certain colors like the unknown,
Right.
this while like maroon and lime. It's just, and when clients or people not used to that, now it's like I just took you back further because they have that one color. Now when you show them all that, some people may be excited, like, I could do this, I could do
I
that.
could do that. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, we need more time.
Yeah, and it's added more time to it because a lot of
Right.
people are not exposed to that. When you break it down and when you really consult to really explain, okay, this is this type of balloon from this balloon, and the reason why this lasts longer from why this it. Because again, a lot of people are looking at the 1, 2, and 3. They're not looking at the 1.1, the 1.2. So I know being an event planner, you
Right.
really
and
have to
and
make
that
sure.
translates to into maybe like pricing, because I know, when it comes to like balloons, price is something that, on Instagram, you see a lot of people going back and forth. I can do this, for cheaper, for, half the price, for a quarter of the price. But it translates to some of those things because you have like different balloon companies that like offer like different colors. And some colors you don't even have them available. So sometimes this is what people don't know. We have to combine two different colors. We call them double stuffing.
Mm,
Insert one color into another to bring out that particular color that you're trying to get. Of course, job like that would tend to be more expensive
yeah.
than if you're just using like single balloons. So
See?
those things are very important.
I learned something today, double stuffing. You see
Yes.
it, but see, now you don't know the terminology. And see, now I just learned the terminology. Wow. Magnolia, you sure are teaching us about event planning, especially with balloon, because I'm telling you, that's just something that just has taken legs and really captivate completely. So after these messages, we're going to continue to talk to my guest Magnolia as she continue to tell us about the different things about the balloons, as well as what is her favorite thing to do as far as baby showers, weddings, and what is the true hype about these balloons? Because again, so many people are going after them. So after these messages, we're going to continue to talk to my guest, Magnolia. Game? Want to reach an engaged audience? Have no fear. Advertise your business on our podcast. Connect with us, the Coffee with Joy Talk Show podcast, and let's grow together. Email us, and we surely look forward to hear from you. Welcome back to Coffee with Joy. So excited to have you all. I'm bringing my guest Magnolia back on. Woo woo! Hey Magnolia, thank you so
Hi,
much.
Joy.
So right before we went on break, you was telling us about the balloons.
Mhm.
Now, and I know you do plethora of things, but I know what gravitated me to your page was the balloons. Now, this is a secret I don't want to get out. I am a balloon fan. I'll take balloons over
Okay.
flowers. For my future husband, I don't want you to listen
Oh
to
my
me.
God.
Like, I am a balloon fan. Like, I swear, looking at your page and just looking at balloon artwork altogether, I'm just at amazed and awe. And like you stated, some people, I remember watching on social media, somebody said, oh yeah, I paid 700. And I believe they had like a stick, they had like a big balloon, and they had like they put the little strings, and I guess they were tying the small. So basically they were making like an air balloon,
Oh
a
yes.
balloon with the butt with the baby, and say they charge like seven or 1,000, be something between there. And people in the comments were totally against it. It was like, well, I could do that myself. I can do that. And as much as yes, we can, but it takes time. This person is showing you where it could probably take me 30 minutes. It may take you 4 to 5 days, and you're going
Right.
to get frustrated. And I think that's what society they look at a 2 minute or 30 seconds clip that's been edited and say, oh yeah, I could do that. That's easy.
Yes.
But when it's
Yes.
time to execute, the person didn't tell you about the part where it sat on the floor. They had
Yes.
to blow up the balloons. They had to
Yes.
put that to the side, come back again, put it together. So you're looking at this thing and it's going to be like a quick microwave, and it
Mm-hmm.
really isn't. Like, what are some of your issues around there when you're trying to explain to your clients about, especially with the balloons, or even just putting the event together? Like, what are some issues, issues that you have to combat, or that you hear a lot of your clients say?
I would say pricing is one of them.
Hmm.
But they don't get see we there's so much at the back end that we do before we come to that like event space that the clients don't get to see. Hours and hours, like you said, we're just talking about colors, and we mentioned, there's like different shades of like one color. Sometimes just sourcing what balloon you would like will take you tons of hours, on the internet, looking across different like websites to see which colors are available, to see which brand you want to use, depending on if you're doing your event outside or inside the house. Sometimes you do have to use like different brand of balloons, and then clients to understand that depending on whether the weather it's like hot, like balloons tend to oxidize. So
Mm.
sometimes clients will come to you and ask for a particular color which is as a result of oxidation, and they want their event inside. So you have to explain these things to them, like you need like sunlight for this balloon to get to this like nature, to this like form, and they don't know that. So tons and tons of work goes into planning, just like hours of scrolling the internet, and then kind of mapping down the design and what you want to use. And then now there's like the logistics part of it. There's like you might need to get, depending on the size, depending on the venue. Some venues just give you like an hour or two for setup. In
Mm.
cases like that, you have to get the balloons blown prior to getting to that venue, and probably get like a like a U-Haul truck to transport it. And then you need labor, so staff, you have to pay people to help you with those installs. So
Yeah.
those are some of the things that clients don't know when they come into a space, an event. They just see it well decorated, it feels like it's just 2 hours of work. Meanwhile, it's like 10 to 20 hours of work that you have put in towards getting that event to where it is.
Wow. And I mean, you make some great points, because I'm just sitting here like at awe, like, wow. Especially with the, with the oxidizing, with the colors inside and outside.
Yes.
And I didn't even know that. In my head, I'm like, now I'm be testing balloons to see what color this color's inside, because I never thought about that. That's wild.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, they do. Yes, outside when you put, so when it's exposed to sunlight, it oxidizes, and usually you'll have like that mad looking shape that people want, like form that people want.
Yeah.
Versus when it's inside, it's just probably like shiny. And some people will come and say, "I want this," and I'm like, "Well, you cannot get this unless I'm doing your event like outside." Yeah, so those are some of the things that we have to explain to clients, and it's like, okay, maybe you're preaching.
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing. And I think a lot of people go ahead in, and it's sad to say, indirectly, I'm probably one of them, right? Like, yeah, I want this big balloon artwork, XYZ, and not really knowing the educating behind it, right? The education, and really trying
Mhm.
to make sure that it's a sound mind. Because at the end of the day, we want what we want, but we don't know what we really want until it's broken down. Because I'm just sitting at awe amazed, like, wow, the balloons inside and outside. You see it, but now that's like a different perspective. Again, you see, you learning something, and you're taking, and it's like diminishing your thought, because you thinking this is it, this is the only it, and just to hear
Right.
that small nugget, it's like, it's really mind provoking. Like,
It
wow.
is. It is.
Now
And
you having the balloons and everything. So now you stated that you have staff. Like, how does that work? How does that go about as you're preparing from the beginning, middle to the end? How does that work with you and your staff?
so depending on the job we have, so we do have like, part-time staff that I have different people, different that I will call. So if
Hmm.
you were to come to me and say you have like a baby shower, um, I would like, depending on how what it takes for that event, usually I would, reach out to my staff. So I have to, look at the logistics, see how many people I need. Sometimes it's one, just one for like very small installs. Sometimes it's two, sometimes it's three. And this is an industry where the turnover too is really high. And since sometimes you cannot keep these people on like every like on a regular, on like a salary,
Yeah.
base. So it's like constantly changing, and that is one of the, I would say, difficulties too we have in this industry, and I'm sure most people would agree
Mhm.
with that. So sometimes you're working with somebody, maybe in the summer it's busy, you might have like jobs every weekend, but now it tends to like slow down. And by the time you start having jobs again, that person might have moved on to something else. Of course, they need
Yeah.
to make money to feed their family, so now you have to start looking for new people. So there's that constant stress, that constant worry of, am I going to get enough people I need for this event?
Mhm.
Recently some people have started having like, staffing agencies that help with these events, and they're really nice. But sometimes they would have limits in terms of number of hours and how many people you can get for each event. And sometimes you just need less than that. So that's
Mhm.
also like, a worry that, you have to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Because I always wonder, and some of the stuff that you said, and that came in play too, because it's not like it's lucrative, but it's not a consistent job,
Yes, it
and
isn't.
the job is there, but the work probably won't be till like another month, because
Yes.
as you're planning in December, somebody's having a baby, having a shower in February. I don't need you now. I need you in February,
Right.
even though the work is there. But that's good to hear, because I'm always wondering, when people do these big massive work, does that
Yes.
come with the salary, or that just comes on as you call? And
Oh no, it comes and it's
yeah.
you call, and sometimes when you have like really big jobs, people would tend to reach out to their, colleagues, other people that do balloons to help.
Oh,
Because,
okay.
sometimes I'll rather have, somebody who knows what they are doing. That way, hey, we can share the money.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at least I have somebody there with experience who knows what they are doing, that can take ownership of their work.
Hmm.
That way I don't have to worry, a lot on my part. Mm.
Right. And what is like what was your biggest event you ever did, and how long did that take?
So my biggest event that I did when it comes to balloons, it's not actually, like the regular balloons, So recently, like if you check on Instagram, you've seen like these giant
Mhm.
foil balloons. That is the one that is, and those balloons are really expensive. Like people have no idea how expensive those balloons are. And when people ask me and I give them pricing for balloons, that's the response I would like, for balloons. So
Uh-huh. Yeah.
those are like really, really expensive balloons. And but the good thing is they are reusable.
Yeah.
So yes, so you can use them as much as you can. So I recently did an event, I think that was in June.
Okay.
With this like big foil balloons, and I had
Mhm.
like about 32 of them. It was actually like a celebration of life,
Mhm.
kind of event. So that blew up everywhere, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, like millions of views. And
Yeah.
I had people like reaching out to me from every part of the world. I'm telling
Mm.
you,
Yeah.
every part
Yeah.
of the world. Like if you go on my TikTok page, on Instagram, like I've had people, I've answered so many questions that I'm like, okay, at this point, I'm like, I'm just one person.
Yeah.
So that really blew up. Like people loved it because it's new, and a lot of people had not seen it before. And
Yeah.
then we really did like a lot, like a large volume. So most people would
Mhm.
do one or two or three for their
Mhm.
events, but I had like about 36 of those, like for this one event. So that really blew up like everywhere. So I
Right.
would say, yeah, that was that's my biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love those balloons. Like when I
Yes.
saw them, they come, especially the metallic jewel color.
Yes, it
Oh my
is the
goodness, it
metallic.
pops so
It
well.
pops.
Oh
Yes.
my god, it just pops by itself, and
Yeah.
the
And the
more you
price
see it,
pops as well.
yeah, I bet, I bet. I know. I'm just like at all for those. And when I see, I was like, so how can I get those for my event?
Yeah, those
Uh,
are really
we got to
good.
get some money for this, because
Yeah,
it is beautiful, like hands down. Because
it
I think we
is.
had like emerald green, and it was like, oh my god, it was
Mm-hmm.
so
Yes.
beautiful. I love those balloons. Let me tell you, I love those balloons.
Yeah.
And I won't ask your quote, but I love those balloons. I love them, because I don't want nobody to say, well, you said this and it's different, because pricing is
Yes.
not pricing, because even though I may be having a baby shower, somebody else may be having a baby shower, but it's too different. It's two
Yeah.
different prices. So it's not to say you go to McDonald's and order number one, that's the price. No, different things for different strokes. I may be getting two for a balloon. Somebody may be getting 32, but that's a price tag,
Exactly. Yes.
you
And
know.
sometimes clients don't put that into consideration when talking to us. It's like, well, I just did this event last week or, last year. And it was, well, first it was last year. Prices are way different. Shipping is high. There's inflation. And secondly, it's just like different events you're doing. So somebody wanting that foil balloon now versus, just our normal, balloons that we have,
Yeah.
those would be like two different things.
See?
So yeah, I feel like we want clients to do more research, but then we are also here to educate. So sometimes we want them to just give us the opportunity to educate you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so because we've had people come on and yeah, like, I cannot pay that much for balloons. Like, just for balloons I can get this at Walmart or at the dollar store. Well, we don't use balloons. Like, most professionals don't use any balloons from the dollar store or from Amazon. Most of us, like, buy like really expensive balloons, and that is why you get the kind of gallons you get.
And you know what? I remember seeing on social media where people won't argue with your price
Mm-hmm.
when they know it's your it's something, but it's basically talking about the class, right? When you have somebody who has no money, they sit and question, but somebody who has some money, they will say, okay, this, okay, what about this, XYZ, and they pay the money.
Yes.
And I tell people, I try to make sure when I come to you and I ask, I say, okay, and I try to put everything on the forefront, and then we work backwards because I understand it's your price, because I'm
Yes.
not going to sit here and finagle like, hey, let me get $2 off, let me get this. No, I have this budget. Let me hear what I could get for this budget and move forward. Some people just want to go in not having a budget. Even if they have the budget, they're trying to get a Lamborghini for a Fiat. It doesn't work like that. I
Yeah.
think people just need to understand people's worth and you're paying for your time. See, and that's the thing with social media. They don't show the timing, the true timing. Yeah, you could speed up the camera. Yeah, you could
Yep.
cut it to 30 seconds. But if I really to show you the camera, you don't have that time to watch me work. Literally, I don't even have that much time to watch me work because that's like 5, 6 hours going into it. And I think people just need to honor people's time. And I don't think they see that. They just look at the balloons like, you're just blowing up balloons. No,
Right.
I'm blowing up an experience. I am giving you something worthwhile. I am showing you
Right.
something because when guests or people show up, it's the, oh my God, it's
Yes.
the effect, and I think people miss that part. They look at the budget and they just say, well, can I get this for $2? And yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot. And one thing you said is very important is, having a budget. And I would say this because I've seen this a lot from people. So people would bring you a picture on Instagram, and that picture has like, 3 or 4 different panels. It's huge. It has like the props, that it's money. It has like this whole balloon gallon. And then when you quote them for that, let's say, let me just call a number. I'll quote you 1,000, right? And they will be like, this is so expensive, this is okay, what is your budget, what do you have? It's like, oh no. And then now they go to somebody else. I respect people's work, but it's not the same quality that you're asking for. And then when you end up see what they would do for that budget, it's way, so you narrow it down to like 2 panels, less balloon, less props, for the price that you gave me for this, when you should have just told me, this is my budget, can you maybe narrow down this to my budget, and you will get better quality for
Yeah.
that. So when you end up see what they end up getting, and it's like, why didn't you just tell me you wanted this? So I should have, reduced, and you still get to work with me. You still,
Yeah.
have that, quality of work, but just maybe a smaller installation as opposed to the very huge one that you wanted. So if you are that person and you really want to work with somebody, tell them, this is my budget. If there's any way you can, reduce this, if there's any way that you can work with this, maybe smaller than maybe what I'm asking, so that way you still get to get that quality of work that you originally wanted.
And I think people miss the quality. They miss
Yes,
the quality and the experience. They miss the quality because they looking for cheap. They want Lamborghini on Fiat prices. It doesn't work like that.
it
You want
doesn't.
Gucci for Walmart. It doesn't work like that.
It doesn't.
Times are hard, but people are willing to work with you, but you got to work with people too, and that's just the bottom line. So
Yeah,
we know Magnolia doing events is not easy at all, right?
it
So
isn't.
what keeps you going through prayer, um, affirmation, anything that, scripture, what keeps Magnolia going through her entrepreneur life, knowing that it has this great ups, but we know it has its downs.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, there's been so many times when I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I am quitting this. Like I cannot do this anymore. I just like, okay, this is it. And then, first, God has been so faithful. Like looking from where I started, where somebody just gave me $300 to do an event, and I ended up spending 1,000 for that event because, like I said, I love my details. I want this to stand out. I cannot do this event for 300, but then I also want to get my name out there. So
Yeah.
I ended up spending like more of my own money in order to get what that person wanted, to now where clients are paying me thousands and thousands of dollars just to, set up that event. It can only be good.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
come a long way from where I used to be. So I thank God very much. Like, you know, prayers, number one. My mom prays for me. I
Yes.
don't pray for
Yes.
myself as much as I would, but I know my mom every day she is like praying for me. She's like praying for me. She's like praying for me. And I know those prayers are like working magic. So
Yeah.
I will
Amen.
tell you, like, God has been there through in, throughout. The passion. This is a job that you cannot do if you're not passionate about it. Because people will test you to your limits. They will test you, they will test you, they will poke. Like sometimes it's like that person was sent, to just, unravel you. So you need to be passionate about, and I think passion is what keeps like a lot of us
Yeah.
grounded. Like you need to be passionate about what you need to love it cannot be about the money,
Yeah.
because if it's about the money, I'm telling you, especially when you're starting out, you won't see the money.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
won't. So you need to love what you're doing and say, in spite of this, in spite of that, in spite of, the complaints, in spite of, because sometimes you're like, why don't people say this? Like this is good work, this is great work. So you need to be passionate about it to keep going. And then like I said, I have the best client. I'm telling you, there are those clients that you will do their job and it would all make it worthwhile. You'll be like, all the suffering, they will be so happy. They will be singing your praises. Most of my jobs come from referrals. So
Yeah.
if I don't have happy clients, I will not have work. So
Yeah.
there are clients that would just be happy. I have clients who still text me 3 years after, just thanking me for doing that event. Like, how can that not keep you, going? How can that not
Mm.
keep you like, okay, if you can change somebody's, life, if you can make somebody's event memorable just by doing an event. I did a baby shower and that kid is, walking around the house, and that client is still thankful for the baby shower I did a couple of years back. So that to me is like, okay, maybe this is my purpose. Maybe this is what God wanted me to do on this earth. So in spite of the challenges, I tend to look at the highs, and that just, powers me through.
That's all in a nutshell. And it's really, like you stated, the denominator to all of this is passion and prayer. Because
Yes.
no one's exempt for problems, but no matter what, the passion will really have to overdrive the money. Because I'm telling you, it's passion over here. Passion
It
make no.
is.
It's
It
truly
is.
passion. So
It
I
is.
truly am thankful so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Because a guest like you, Coffee with Joy is in business and we run it full throttle. So I'm so ever grateful to have you on my show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow Coffee with Joy. As you all know, if you would like to be a guest on Coffee with Joy, please make sure that you follow our email, which is at the Joy Show, the Coffee with Joy Show at gmail.com, or you can go to our website, which is located below, the coffeewithjoyshow.com. But we would love to have you. So if you have a testimony, you're an entrepreneur, or a show share, or if there's something that's lingering that you would like to just talk about, we are Coffee with Joy, where we normalize the difficult conversation. And if you'd like to patronize our company, please make sure that you follow the QR codes. Any amount would do. That'll help our production continue to run. And as always, if it's a weekday, it is Coffee with Joy. Until then, you all live life on purpose, and see you all soon. Santa, tell me if you're really